Welcome to the Alectio tutorial on experiment creation. My name is Justin, and I'll be walking you through that workflow today. If you've seen any of our previous tutorials, you'll know that our goal is to walk you through some of the core use cases of the platform, how our customers are most frequently using Alectio. And in this case, for this experiment, we're going to use what is like our most fundamental use case, a customer with a very large data set who is trying to find within that data set the optimal data to train their model on. So say given 100,000 records, training your model on all 100,000 is probably not the best choice, both for compute costs and the quality of the data within that data set. All those 100,000 records will not affect your model in the same way. So the goal for Alectio is to find out which data inside that large data set is the most optimal. And to do that, we run what we call experiments. And so that's what we're going to be going over today. So how to find which data in a data set is the most optimal for your model. So if you saw our previous tutorial on project creation, when you finish creating a project, this is the screen that you end up on. It's a tiled grid of all the projects you've created on our platform. You'll see there's 3 tabs up here. There's an all, a public, and a private tab. We'll go over these public jobs these public projects in a future tutorial. For now, the one thing you need to understand is that you can only run experiments on private projects. So we are going to do that today. So here we're going to click on, you guessed it, the experiment tutorial. Obviously just click go to workspace and get started. So pretty self-explanatory screen, won't spend a lot here. We're going to just simply create our first experiment. However, if you do want to do any labeling tasks within a project, you'll see that there's a tab up here for that. Again, something we'll go over in a future tutorial, so no need to kind of belabor those points here. So here we're going to create our new experiment by clicking here. Much like you saw in the project creation workflow, you're going to simply name your experiment. So we'll just call this experiment 1 just for kind of ease. Again, we have a few different kinds of experiments. You can do data diagnostics on our platform. You can do data filtering, but as I mentioned in the introduction of this video, most typically we see our customers looking for an active learning solution on our platform. And active learning is simply that process we were talking about where you're going to identify the best data to train your model on. With active learning, instead of training on a large data set at once, what you do is you train on small data sets of the most valuable data and go in several different loops. So out of, say, that 100,000, you might train on, 5,000 and then another 5,000 in loop 2 and so on and so forth until you kind of reach diminishing returns. And the goal of our platform is to help you find which data in that data set those are. So just going to show you how to do that here. So you click active learning, you'll see that next button turn teal, and then you just simply click it and move to the next page. If you're familiar with active learning, you may be enticed to design your own querying strategy or manually curate your data. If you're not, or you're just new to the platform, we do recommend going with this little robot in the hat, the auto active learning, the machine learning driven active learning approach. This is kind of our bread and butter. We have we will figure out which strategy to use within your data set to find that data that will make your model train most accurately and most quickly. And so that's what we're going to do here. Simply choose next, and then you go to this next screen. So here, because these are experiments, they do take, we will run through several loops as we train, as your model gets trained. So you can choose from all these different criteria on how that experiment actually functions. As always, if it's your first time, we recommend you letting Alectio decide when it's most appropriate to stop. Essentially, once we reach diminishing returns and adding more data to the training process is not going to improve your model, we will stop. You can also set a particular accuracy threshold. That's this one right here. Obviously, you just click this radio button and then you choose your accuracy threshold. Or you can also choose a limit. So this one is great if you have certain budgetary restrictions, right? There's your maximum cost. You also have an amount of time or an amount of records you'll train on. You don't want to train on the full 100,000 records in a 100,000 record training set because, that's sort of defeating the purpose of what active learning is. But here you would just simply choose let us decide, and when it's most appropriate to stop, and then you just click next. And really, if you're not doing any data labeling, that's simply all you have to do. You're kind of given this project experiment details page where you go over, what we named it, how we're doing our querying strategy. If you had certain thresholds for accuracy or time or cost, those would be here in the experiment criteria. But what happens here is you click start and the experiment starts running. At that point, active learning and some of our proprietary approaches will start kind of running on your model on your data set. And they'll be looking for those optimal pieces of information to train your data set on. While that's happening, you'll be getting reports, monitoring reports from us at every stage where you can see which data we've selected, how your model is improving over time, et cetera, et cetera. And that's in a report section that we'll show you later. But really, to create an experiment, that's all you have to do. It's a simple 1, 2, 3 sort of process. And if you let us kind of drive on your end, there's not really anything you have to do other than upload your data and kind of press start, and we'll find the data within that data set that will make your model the most accurate. And that's it. That's how you create an experiment on Alectio. Thanks for joining us.